Not until we are lost do we begin to understand ourselves. That was Henry David Thoreau's advice to us, and perhaps the reason why he was studied for his incredible approach to life. So if you're unsure about what's next for you, maybe you're now in the right place, because you had to understand the depth of the question before you could discover your answer. But it doesn't feel like you're given the space to figure that out, does it? The pressure in life builds quickly, this need to know what's next. It feels like there's this expectation to have your life figured out. Studies tell us the longer you stay stuck without knowing your next step, the harder it becomes to get on track. And when we're talking about 1 million people, those studies tell us something. But when we're talking about one life, your life, those studies may not tell us very much. The world is full of all types of success, begin in all types of moments. Einstein knew what he wanted, but for a long time he couldn't make it happen. I'm friends with people who didn't graduate from high school and have built an incredible life. I'm friends with people who took the promising path, university, good job, promotions, corporate ladder, and may look successful from the outside, but feel far from it on the inside. When it comes to your life, any road is possible. It doesn't matter where you're starting, the timing is for you to figure out. Harrison Ford was a carpenter until his 30s. Vera Wang didn't open her first boutique until she was about 40. Charles Darwin didn't publish his world-changing book until he was 50. The thing that unites them is they eventually found their path. The challenge for most of us is we allow ourselves to get stuck when trying to figure all this out. It happens because we pick up only one lens to look at the world. We get stuck in a selfish mindset. Yet selfishness is not what you think it is. Because selfishness is not just about having all things go your way. It's not only about putting yourself ahead of others. Most of us aren't looking for that. But selfishness has a way of finding us. Because the selfish approach to life can often feel anything but. It happens when we get stuck only asking questions of ourselves. What does happiness look like to me? What is success to me? What is the right path for me? These are all great questions. But they start to become limiting questions if they're the only ones you ask. What does the world need from me? How can I make somebody smile? What gifts of mine can be used to help somebody else? Questions pointing towards you and away from you. That's the way to get unstuck. Then you take action. You build what's next. You invent it. You draw it. You dance it. You cook it. You offer it. You write it. You practice it. You take the actions one step at a time to change your life. So if you're asking yourself what's next, take a deep breath. Everyone asks it at some point, and often more than once. To find your answer, don't just look inward. What is the world asking of you?
Possibilities are all around us. Everywhere we look, we see opportunity. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action. In communities all around the world that we call home. Like transforming an old bus to feed hungry children, or providing life-saving equipment to those who need it most. From fighting disease to rebuilding schools, together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at Rotary.org.
Hello, family of
We
Rotary.
are people of action.
My name is Stephanie Yurchik, and I'm director for Rotary Zones 33 and 34, and I'm excited to welcome you today to our second seminar on career strategies. This series is part of Rotary Works, a Zones 33 and 34 program by Rotarians for Rotarians and Rotaractors who find themselves in challenging circumstances where they may have lost a job, are underemployed, or maybe are looking to make a career transition. Rotary Works offers professional and skill development seminars, coaching, connecting, resources, a place to post and find job opportunities, and later this year, small financial grants. You can learn more by typing into your browser rotary.works. You'll be redirected to the Zones 33 and 34 website where you can learn more about this exciting program. Our session today focuses on personal branding. Our presenters are Rich, the HR Guy Salon, who is currently an AG in District 7600, and is the recruitment and retention training advisor for his district. He's been in the HR field for longer than he cares to mention and is a career transition coach. Our other presenter is Kate Winter Cole, and she is a marketing and design consultant and educator with over 15 years of experience helping small businesses and entrepreneurs develop their branding and grow their digital marketing presence. She also happens to be president of my Rotary Club. So if you have questions you'd like to pose to our presenters, please use the chat box at the bottom of your screen or at the top if you're using an iPad, and we'll address them during the Q&A portion of our presentation. So now, on with the program. Every day, we are confronted with thousands of marketing and branding messages, yet how many of them do we actually remember? Rich and Kate, can you share a few memorable marketing messages that you have heard?
What's in your wallet?
Just do it.
Melts in your mouth, not in your hands.
I'm loving it.
The breakfast of champions.
Tastes so good, cats ask for it by name.
These phrases, when we hear them or see them, immediately conjure up a product or a company in our minds. In a way, they're like mini mission statements. Personal branding is all about the same concept. How will you create a message about you that is memorable, explains the key benefits of adding you to an organization, helps differentiate you from others, and leaves a reader or viewer with positive feelings about you? Again, our presenters today are going to share 3 very essential parts of personal branding. So Rich and Kate, take it away.
Thank you, Stephanie. We want to start with sharing this quote with you from Tom Peters. All of us need to understand the importance of branding. We are CEOs of our own companies. Call it Me Incorporated. To be in business today, our most important job is to be head marketer for the brand called you. We're excited about today's session, and let's talk a little bit about the objectives. We have 3 objectives for today's session. Number 1 is defining, elevating, and articulating your personal brand. Number 2 is networking in a virtual world. And number 3, leveraging LinkedIn. The 8 mistakes you may be making, plus how to optimize your connections. I'm passing it over to Kate.
Thanks, Rich. Today's session is all about defining, elevating, and articulating your personal brand. And we're so happy that you have joined us today. What this means for you is that you will leave here today knowing what you want your personal brand to be, and you will understand how to share your brand via virtual networking and the LinkedIn platform. We will talk about your personal brand as it relates to you in whatever stage of your career you find yourself in. As a potential hire looking for new opportunities, as an employee, as a person trying to grow your network, as an entrepreneur or a small business owner. Let's dive into branding as it relates to employment. I'm going to turn it over to Rich. But Rich, I see you're wearing the color orange, again, for the 3rd career seminar in a row.
Absolutely. The color orange is part of my personal branding, just like my nickname, Rich the HR Guy. Look, some people find the nickname a little silly, but that's okay. It's clearly unique, which is important in personal branding. So let's talk about personal branding as it relates to those seeking employment. The current employment market is the most competitive I've seen in my adult life. Our country has witnessed over 80 million job losses since last March. The difference between you being hired versus someone else being hired is the strength of your brand. A brand is the essence of one's unique success story. This applies to people at work and also people during job search. Portraying yourself as unique and special is a key differentiator in the selection process. What does your brand say about you? Do you feel you're unique, clone, or somewhere in between? When you walk down the hallway at work, coworkers and leadership need to clearly see how you are different than other people performing the same work. When you walk into a meeting for your professional association, what areas of specialization would your fellow members describe about you? Your brand at work or within job search must demonstrate a consistent image, message, and performance. In the event your reputation is not where you hoped it would be, this is not fatal. You can potentially overcome this by other means, including your ability to articulate your passions. As a reminder, job search, you're at least 80% likely to be led to your next role by someone you know slightly to someone you know intimately. You only have one shot with many people, so it's important to make that one shot count. A single bad impression with a senior leader may lead to no job offer. However, a single positive impression can do the reverse. It may land you that job offer. Create a reason for employers to seek your services. This is no easy task, no question. You need to continue to outthink the competition. You should understand a potential employer's problems and effectively articulate how you can solve them. Do your research, understand where a company wants to grow, show them how you will take them to the next level. Your personal brand also includes your appearance. Appearances at work matter. Don't wear holey jeans and flip-flops to work on casual Fridays. And while in job search, Don't leave the house looking sloppy. The same goes for your appearance during Zoom meetings. The next person who sees you may be the link to your next job offer. Now, I'm going to turn this back to Kate, who will share personal branding for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Kate?
Thanks, Rich. Let's talk about your brand from the perspective of a small business owner or an entrepreneur. Oftentimes, you are the brand. So entrepreneurs, I'd like you to keep these things in mind. And even if you're not an entrepreneur now, maybe you will be in the future. So you are the brand in every way, shape, and form. Your personal behaviors, in person and online, impact your brand and therefore your business. Use that four-way test in online marketing, comments, and communication. Yes, this guideline applies to your digital life as well. Reputation is everything. Manage it, cultivate it, and then from there, watch your business grow. Growing your brand is a result of consistent action, never one push or campaign. Small business owners, keep in mind, branding is the experience of doing business with you. It's not only your business cards or your packaging. Ask yourself, is it clean? Is it current? Is it consistent? Reputation, again, flashy advertising can't fix crappy customer experiences. And always remember that you are not only a representative for your brand, you are the representative for your brand. Your actions, words, and decisions reflect on you personally and professionally. And your decisions impact your employees. Your brand isn't only the way your website works or how your business card looks. Your brand is how you greet people, the posts you share on Facebook, the way you treat a stranger, and your involvement in your community. Speaking of our involvement in our communities, let's jump into networking in 2021, which means networking in a virtual world. Rich?
Thanks, Kate. Let's talk about networking in a virtual world. I'm going to ask each of you right now to multitask over the next couple of minutes. This is completely voluntary, and we're going to tell you later in the presentation why we're suggesting you do this. Got a paper and pencil right next to you? Grab that pencil, grab that pen, grab that paper. Write down my nickname as you see on the screen. Yup, Rich the HR Guy. And don't forget the hyphens, Rich the HR Guy. That's my nickname. Remember, it's part of my brand. Now that you've written it down, stay with this program, stay on the broadcast, but you know how to open up your LinkedIn page, okay? Multitasking. When you open up your LinkedIn page, the first thing you'll see in the upper left is your search bar. Again, search bar in the upper left-hand corner of your LinkedIn. Type in my nickname, Rich the HR Guy. Type it in, just like you read it, Rich the HR Guy. Hit enter on your keyboard. Okay, now it just popped up. You will see my LinkedIn profile appear at the top of the list. You're free to hit the connect button if you would like to make a connection to you. No pressure to add me as a connection. If you decide to connect with me and it states add a note, very simple. Hit that add a note button and type in the word Rotary. And then hit enter again on your keyboard. Doing this sends me a LinkedIn connection request, which is designed to help you. Our LinkedIn expert, Kate, is going to explain to you in a few minutes how sending me a LinkedIn connection request helps you. And after today's presentation, each of you have the option to eliminate that connection to me in LinkedIn. My feelings won't be hurt. So again, more to come on the LinkedIn section in a few minutes. Again, sending me a connection request is voluntary. Now let's get on with networking in a virtual world. A few minutes ago, we established that competition for jobs remains intense. Let's dive into the single most critical activity in your job search. It's networking. Before we dive into the details, networking looks a little different than it did a year ago. At this time last year, people attended live in-person events. They were driving to Panera to meet someone over coffee. They were meeting in someone's office or going to an auditorium for a conference. The concept of networking has not changed. It is just done more frequently by phone or Zoom meetings. The one challenge meetings by phone or Zoom present is that you may not have the 100% attention level of the other person. This is not a showstopper. You simply have to work a little harder to captivate that person. Showing your passions and looking confident may help you overcome distractions the other person may be feeling. Again, you can still obtain the same results with networking in a virtual world. You just may have to work a little harder at it. Let's talk about some of the realities of the job search process. Again, more than 80% of jobs are filled through networking. This includes referrals. And in fact, the largest career transition company in the world did a study about 3 years ago and determined that it was about 90%. With that logic, if 80 to 90% of jobs are filled through networking, where should you spend 80 to 90% of your job search time? Networking. The most popular method companies continue to use today to fill jobs is who do we know? We talked about this in the prior session. As we shared with you in the past presentations, there's almost a phobia within companies. They typically expect the candidate to be connected to the hiring manager, the department, the location, or the company. Someone not connected to the company may get hired, but this does not happen frequently. Again, connectedness is more important than past accomplishments in today's market. Can't change that, so that's how we need to pattern our offense. So let's talk about the process in networking. At this point, we clearly understand the importance of networking, so how do we go about it? There are many methods to consider. I hope you utilize all of them. One method is to identify your current connections who are high level and your trust level with them is high. I call this your A list. High level individual, high level trust. That's your A list. After that, identify members of your B list. There's nothing wrong with a B list, just a little different than the A's. These are people who are high level. You just don't know them real well yet, or they're not high level, but you happen to know them very well. A list and B list. We introduced this concept in the January 27th presentation. If you get a chance, if you hadn't seen it, please go back, watch the January 27th session. It was recorded. It's on Rotary.works, called Making It Happen, Creating Your Marketing and Action Plans. So schedule meetings with your A-list and your B-list members, seeking their advice and also reminding them of your passions and your talents. You know, the stuff you really, really like to do and the stuff you're really, really, really good at. When you have these meetings, seek introductions to others who may lead you to interviews. At the very least, they lead you to people who offer more advice. Again, it's about collecting information, advice, insights, and using it to your advantage. Remember, let people know you're not looking for a job. You're researching companies and industries in the area. Stating you're looking for a job is old and tired language, okay? Again, you are researching companies and industries along the way to the next leg of your career. Remember, you're also looking to identify some of those hidden jobs, the ones companies would rather not post. How are you going to learn about jobs not posted or advertising? Through networking. Here's a couple of other suggestions. Here's a phenomenal resource. Rotarians. Many Rotarians will be eager to help you. Treat them as an A-list or a B-list member. Schedule meetings with them. Show them your passions, your talents. Go to industry-related events, such as seminars or conferences, even if they're on Zoom. Your peers may be receiving calls from recruiters, and them seeing you might lead to a referral with a recruiter trying to fill an active job. Here's another method. Identify the people in your profession at your level who remain currently employed, who may be likely to receive a call from an executive recruiter or a staffing firm. Meet with these people so they state to the recruiter when they receive the next phone call, I'm not looking right now, but let me tell you who you should be talking to. And then they pass on your name and phone number to the recruiter. Continue to build your list of professional connections on LinkedIn. This will increase your visibility to more people. Kate is going to give some great tips about LinkedIn in a few minutes. Volunteering within Rotary, volunteering outside of Rotary continues to be a great way to meet people and developing professional connections as well. Please remember that although you've met someone once, don't assume that they will evangelize for you on your behalf. Before they will go to bat for you, they need to know you, like you, then trust you. Keep the people who you meet with up to date. At the very least, it'll remind them that you're still in job search. Again, it's not what you know. It's more important who you know or who knows you. The most connected people are often the most successful in career search. Again, I guarantee you that networking is cheaper than a postgraduate degree. Your marketing plan document is much more impactful than your resume. We talked about that in the last session as well. Marketing plan is what you want to do in the future. Your resume is what you've done in the past. Your marketing plan remains a critical networking tool. In fact, we placed a sample marketing plan template on the Rotary Works website. Just access the link to Career Transition Resources, and you'll find it. So it looks like this. I'm going to fold it up and scan it. I'm going to pull it and scan it. Okay. You'll know when you found the marketing summary template when you notice it has my name on it. Okay. My template's on the top. Okay. We wanted to share that with you. We're moving from employment to consulting opportunities. A few tips about consulting opportunities, because we know we have some incredibly talented Rotarians and Rotaractors out there who have some highly specialized skills to share. For those of you pursuing consulting opportunities, here's a few things. Meet with people you trust to validate the uniqueness and demand for your proposed consulting services. Consider meeting with people who know your area of expertise and obtain their thoughts, their insights on potential client companies who can utilize your consulting services. If you decide to move forward as a consultant, create a target company list and begin approaching them, demonstrating your personal brand with passion. Show them they need you to help solve their problems and make the organization stronger. Another suggestion is utilize the coaches from this Rotary Works program. We have coaches who have some terrific experience in the consulting arena, and they'll be happy to help you. Lastly, let's talk about networking for business ownership opportunities. For those of you seeking to become your own boss through business ownership, here's some things to consider. Please remember, there's 3 options to choose from: business startup, buying an existing business, or purchasing a franchise. If you're thinking about initiating your own business startup, the SCORE organization is a terrific resource who might help you validate your business idea. For those interested in buying an existing business, contact a business broker or look at advertising publications such as BizBuy Sell. For franchise ownership, a franchise consultant, also known as a business ownership coach, works with about 500 franchise companies seeking local owners. People interested in franchise do not pay the franchise consultants. The franchise companies pay the consultant. And again, please consider utilizing our coaches. We have over 30 of them within our Rotary Works team as well. We have multiple coaches who have experience with business startups and at least one that specializes in franchises, and they'll be happy to help you. To close, please remember, talent has options. For career seekers, you continue to have 3 terrific options available: employment, consulting, or business ownership. Networking is a big part of your success, and it utilizes a one-size-fits-one approach. Not everyone will use the identical networking tactics. Finally, goes without saying, please pay it forward. Help others in your network ongoing. This is important since you may ask them for help in the future. I hope you've enjoyed this discussion about networking. I'm turning it over to Kate.
Thanks, Rich. Now let's talk about how to leverage our brand on social media. I'm going to cover 8 common LinkedIn mistakes you could be making, plus how to optimize your connections. At this point, we know that social media channels are a hugely important component of developing your personal brand. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, and now Clubhouse all give you a unique platform to deliver your content to a, hopefully, ideal potential connection. But most professionals are missing out on the one social media outlet that was built to grow your professional network. Yep, LinkedIn. I know it's not flashy, it's not sexy. No one wakes up and bounces out of bed in the morning thinking, oh my God, I have to check out what Sarah's consulting firm is up to on LinkedIn. I would even go so far to say that LinkedIn is often the forgotten social media outlet, but it really shouldn't be. LinkedIn is replacing mixers, networking events, and traditional face-to-face exchanges of information. More often at a pre-pandemic professional event, I was giving out my Instagram handle or my LinkedIn link rather than my traditional business card. And 2020 and the pandemic only accelerated that transition. But there is a right and a wrong way to approach any platform. To help you out, I've listed out these 8 biggest mistakes that I have seen on LinkedIn. I want you to use this opportunity to give your profile and your engagement on that platform a quick review. Okay, mistake number 1, the biggest mistake I see is a non-professional photo. This is a professional platform, and too many pictures out there look like a selfie taken at a bar. Your photo is a first impression, and we all know we only get one of those. Only use a picture that you would be comfortable using as your bio picture on your company website or on your resume. Here's a tip. If you use Canva for graphics or editing, or you've heard of that tool, take advantage of the background remover tool. Canva is C-A-N-V-A. The next mistake I see is not utilizing your headline and header image. Your headline is your chance to clearly and concisely describe yourself. This line is visible on your posts next to your profile image as your connections view your activity in the newsfeed. Use concise language, not necessarily full sentences, and if applicable, include specialty certifications not listed with your name. Let's look at 2 examples of well-known LinkedIn profiles to see their headlines. First off, we have Lewis Howes. He's one of my favorite podcast hosts. So if you're looking for a great podcast, he's a good one to listen to. And this is a screenshot from his actual profile. You can read New York Times bestselling author, top 100 podcasts in the world with the School of Greatness, former pro athlete. And you can see how this gives someone a summary of who he is and his brand. The next screenshot I have for you is a LinkedIn post. So this is something your connections would see in their feed as they scroll through LinkedIn. This is Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk is pretty well known for being very direct and is a big expert on modern marketing. His headline reads, Chairman of VaynerX, CEO of VaynerMedia, 5 times New York Times best-selling author, etc. But you can see as someone scrolls through where you can see this headline and why it's so important. It's your chance to show your brand in your newsfeed. And I chose this post specifically because it shows the evolution of digital communication and highlights why we need to master our brand and virtual networking skills. If you aren't familiar with Gary Vee, I suggest you take a listen to him. Another misstep, which is quite common, is leaving your profile incomplete or outdated. Fill out all of the sections of your profile. This is essentially your live resume. Leaving sections blank is doing you a disservice. And I highly suggest putting some time and effort into the volunteer section, including your Rotary or Rotaract experiences. This is a great way to grow your connections and round out your personal brand. Is your profile outdated? If you changed jobs 2 years ago and you never updated your profile, you are missing out on opportunities and connections that are more relevant to your current situation. Give your profile a quick review monthly, or at very minimum, quarterly. So let's quickly run down the sections of your LinkedIn profile. Remember, the goal is to complete as many as possible. It is your LinkedIn resume or your business CV. Try not to leave anything blank. The more information you can provide, the better. But don't clutter your profile for the sake of filling in empty space. Always use relevant information. Your name should be filled out, obviously. If your certification includes letters after your name, make sure that's where they are. Your about section, this is your bio. Tell your story, but don't wander. Including some appropriate details is encouraged. The featured section in your LinkedIn profile is where it gives you the opportunity to provide samples of your work. It's an easy way to demonstrate authority in your space to anyone who's checking out your page. Be sure to include a few of your best works, such as articles, links, and media. This highlights your content. This is a great place for a one-pager or sales sheet, links to podcasts on which you've been a guest, videos that show your skills or range, or a link to your blog. The experience section, please make sure this is updated, and you can use that section to link to specific web pages, maybe of your current employer, if applicable. And the volunteer experience section, we talked about this before. This can help you expand your network. Another mistake is missing or incorrect contact information. If you want to grow connections, you have to be open to contact. You wouldn't send a resume with an incorrect phone number or email address. Why would you treat your LinkedIn profile any differently? Also, is your profile public? Check your settings. You want to be open to contact from people outside of your first level connections. Stakes 5 and 6. Number 5, are you asking for and giving recommendations and endorsements? LinkedIn gives you a free way to nurture your connections and leave some love for those people who've impacted you. The best way to get those is to give them. Most likely they will return the favor. 6, not actively growing your network with connections. Add your LinkedIn information to your physical or digital business card. List your LinkedIn link on your personal Facebook page. Connect with new personal and business contacts. Accept and engage with connection requests. Connect with members of your Rotary Club. Also, look in the chat. I have seen so many people put a link to their own LinkedIn page in our chat today. Thank you. Growing this network organically, instead of spamming a bunch of strangers, will give you a stronger, more engaging LinkedIn experience. One of the biggest hurdles for new users is not posting original content. Sharing relevant content is great, but only sharing other people's content does not bring more value to your connections. Use this opportunity to create something. Write your opinions on an industry topic as a LinkedIn article. List out tips and advice for clients and colleagues. Post images of your work. Support charities and organizations that align with your business and personal goals. You will be pleasantly surprised how supportive the LinkedIn community can be when it comes to original content. For more ideas, see what your network is sharing and post compelling content of your own. When connections see and engage with your posts, it will once again help drive traffic to your profile, generate more connections, and boost your social reach as your content spreads. Also, think about what advice you would give a friend that makes a fantastic post. Speaking of content, let's talk about content to avoid. Remember, LinkedIn is a professional platform. It is best to avoid politics, religion, adult content, and suggestive images. Again, that four-way test when it comes to all social media on any platform. This brings us to our final mistake, failing to engage with other people's content. Like, comment, share, leave some love, and others will do the same. Remember, the goal is to serve others. This is social media, and we are Rotarians. Be social and be of service. Now that we have this beautiful, complete profile, strong connections, and you're providing all this content of value, what's next? How to optimize your connections. Number one, make sure you can be found. Remember, LinkedIn is a search platform as well as a social media platform. You want people to find you when they search. Optimize with the words you want to show up for. Those are your keywords. Insert them throughout your profile in a natural way to boost your rank. For example, if I'm a marketing consultant, I would want the word marketing and consultant in both my headline and my about section. Also, grow your connections with an attitude of service. Throwing out connection requests left and right will make you look like a spammer or a fake profile, and it will deter people from connecting with you. If you do want to connect with people you don't know or are unfamiliar with, feel free to tell them why in your connection request. This can be anything from, I'm looking for local networking opportunities, to hello, I enjoy your blog, or just the word Rotary if you're connecting with Rich or I. Always avoid those spammy generic messages and trying to sell to a new contact before nurturing a relationship. I also suggest following groups and individuals that inspire and motivate you. Just as on any platform, social media has its dangers and should be used as a tool. It's just like money. It's an excellent servant and a terrible master. Social media, regardless of platform, works the same way. So I'm going to close today with a few quotes that I really like. This first one is from Chris Drucker. Your personal brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. Remember that. And more importantly, let's discover why. Your brand, your personal brand, is what you are through the lens of others. Be intentional about that perception, personally and professionally. And my final quote is from Gary Vaynerchuk. It's important to build a personal brand because it's the only thing you're going to have. Your reputation online and in the new business world is pretty much the game. So you've got to be a good person. You can't hide anything. And more importantly, you've got to be out there at some level. So I'd like to encourage you to connect with Rich and myself. You have our emails right here on this slide and our social media handles. I know I threw a lot of LinkedIn information at you today. There is a summary available to download on the Rotary Works website with the top 8 mistakes and tips for optimizing. So you can head to rotary.works to download that. Also, so Rich has LinkedIn on there, and I have LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and now Clubhouse. So if anyone's on Clubhouse and would like to connect, I'd be happy to. That wraps up what I have today. Marcy, what questions can we answer from our chat box?
Well, thank you, Rich and Kate. There are some incredible questions in the chat box, and I want you all to please go to the chat box because there's some great Rotarians to connect to. So the first question I'm going to start with is everything you are teaching today applicable for the US only or also true internationally?
You want to take that, Rich, or me?
I think for LinkedIn, the very least, LinkedIn and personal branding, the networking may look different in other cultures, but I think definitely LinkedIn and Kate's terrific advice and the personal branding, showing your uniqueness is likely universal.
Kate, any
I would
additional?
I would say LinkedIn is used pretty similarly across cultures from what I understand.
Okay, great. So our next question is, in fact, a number of these are about LinkedIn. How do you suggest to use the headline if you are looking for a change in career?
That is a great question. And that's something I probably should have covered today. Thank you. If you are looking for a new opportunity, it is appropriate in your headline to have the first words be looking for new opportunities.
Okay. Second question about LinkedIn. Any insight on premium subscriptions to LinkedIn? What additional benefits are there? Thank you.
One of the great things about LinkedIn is it's one of the few platforms that still exist rather organically. It's not pay to play the way that Facebook and Instagram have become. So in order to defer some of those costs, LinkedIn does have a premium subscription. On a personal use level, I no longer have a premium subscription and I have built my business off of it. So that should give you an idea of my personal thoughts.
Okay, great. How can you edit or change information / jobs that you have posted on your LinkedIn page?
Great. If you go to your profile and you scroll down, you should see a little pencil over to the right. That should be where you can hit edit.
Okay. I had a robust LinkedIn account following all of these recommendations. Then I started to be harassed by other LinkedIn members and I got scared. I canceled the account and now have to start from scratch. Any advice for me as I start from nothing? I'm discouraged.
I'm sorry you had that experience. I have had 1 or 2 frustrating experiences on LinkedIn as well. I do suggest reaching out to LinkedIn customer support, let them know what happened, so at least they have a record of it. But I would start with your Rotary network. I think they're a fantastic way to grow your network again, professional connections, and there's a way to import your contacts, I believe, when you sign up for a new account, where it will say, can I look at your contact list and see if there's anybody else who matches up? That might be a good way as well.
Thank you. Next question. How to identify fraud on LinkedIn or verify a person who contacts you for donation or outreach?
Ooh, that's a good question. Look who they're connected to, see if they're connected to anybody reputable that you know. If you have no connections whatsoever, I would assume fraud. I don't mean to be overly critical of it, but it's just the way the world works right now.
Okay. Several questions about what is Clubhouse?
Oh, that's a great question. Clubhouse has become popular within the last, I don't know, 15 minutes, but it's like 2 months. Clubhouse is an audio only platform where you can jump into rooms based on certain topics. You can even create rooms about certain topics. You have to be invited to join Clubhouse. If you're interested in it, send me a message over on LinkedIn or shoot me an email. I'm going to see how many invites Clubhouse can give me, and I'd be happy to get a Rotary group going on Clubhouse.
Excellent. Is it okay to link your Instagram page to LinkedIn profile?
Absolutely. Promote that.
So I see a lot of people accepting from people they have not met or interacted with. And so this is really kind of for both of you, both because of this whole virtual world. is it best to connect with more people or be strategic and know the person? So first I'll ask Kate because of the LinkedIn thing. And then I think, Rich, I think you have probably a different perspective.
I don't accept connection requests that I have nobody in common with, or they're not giving me a reason to connect with them.
Okay, great. Rich, what's your thought about, we get friends of friends connections type?
I have a similar outlook than Kate. I'm selective. If I know somebody's a Rotarian, they're in. If they're a human resources professional like myself, I get it why they want to connect. And in fact, during this session, I did receive 71 LinkedIn connection requests, and I'm happy to accept every single one of them. I'll do that after the call. And by doing so, you've grown your visibility. So somebody an hour ago you didn't have visibility to, but when I accept the connection request, you may see some additional people or have visibility to additional people. So, and by the way, one of you, 71, is now my 4,000th connection. Thank you for helping me get over that milestone.
Is there not an award for that person? Like a big celebration, as they walk through the door? Here's a final question. It looks like, how do you recommend to balance social media privacy with sharing professional and personal information? And I think you both might have different opinions on that.
Rich, I'll let you start with that one.
No, I'm going to defer to Kate. She's the expert. I don't really have a unique opinion on that.
You have to create some boundaries for yourself, what you're willing to share, what you're not willing to share, what contact information you're willing to have out there. Establish your boundaries, leave them as they are. I generally don't share personal on my LinkedIn page. I don't share pictures of my family. I don't, my contact information is the same that it is across my business. So that's my line.
So we have somebody who inadvertently has 2 LinkedIn accounts. Should they cancel the one with fewer contacts?
I'd condense those, make life a little easier for you. Social media can be daunting. There's so many platforms. There's so many different ways to connect with people. Streamline.
And then you're right, talking about whatever comes up in the last 15 minutes. Here's a question about any thought on Alignable versus LinkedIn.
I tinkered with Alignable. Not a lot of my network was on there, so I stuck with LinkedIn. That was my personal experience. If you have a different experience, I'd be happy to hear about it.
And I did want to point out that there's a comment in the chat about Toastmasters, and that people who feel communications challenged to attend, and again, either online Zoom as we are now meeting, or in person when we meet again. I think, and we've had some questions about getting the marketing template. Kim Walden, who is responsible for our resource library, has pointed that out. If you go to rotary.works, it'll link you back to the website, which is chock full of previously recorded sessions, the newsletters, and other kinds of links and documents that will be helpful in your career search or transition. So I'm going to go back to, I think we've wrapped all the questions up, and I'm going to go back to Stephanie.
Thanks, Marcy. And wow. Thank you, Rich, and thank you, Kate. Everyone, wasn't that an outstanding presentation? So many great ideas and suggestions. I know that they'll be useful as you look for that first job or a new job or a completely different career. If you'd like to chat further with Rich or Kate, once again, here is contact information for each of them. I also want to thank our behind-the-scenes tech support team who makes the magic happen. James Markley from District 6950 and Terry Weaver from District 7750. And as Rich mentioned, we're very excited that our Rotary Works career coaching offering is up and running. We have dozens of coaches ready to serve, and we've also had dozens of requests for a coach. So if you're thinking about having a one-on-one coach and you think that would be helpful in your career transition, or if you would like to volunteer to become a coach, visit Rotary.works and look for the links in the right-hand column. And if you'd like to get involved in any other way in our initiative to help Rotarians and Rotaractors with career development, please reach out to me. And again, we'd like to remind you that we do these sessions monthly. We want you to mark your calendar for our upcoming events. You can register for any of these sessions on Rotary.works. You can also find recordings of previous sessions on that same site. So thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you at our next seminar. Rotary Works.